If your Apple Watch barely lasts you one day, you don't need to buy a new one. A simple tiny battery replacement can double its lifespan and save you hundreds of pounds. But only if you do it right. I'm Dan, and after spending 8 years fixing hundreds of these watches, I'm going to be showing you 4 simple steps to replace the battery safely, including some common mistakes most DIYs make that end up destroying the watch. So, let's get it repaired. Step 1. How to remove the display safely. This Apple Watch was sent to me from the Isle of Man. When she packed the watch, she didn't have any bubble wrap, so she used cotton wool instead. Honestly, it's not such a bad idea. The watch turns on and it isn't smashed, so her cotton innovation clearly did the job here. Unlike iPhones, there's no screws holding the Apple Watch screen in place. It's held down entirely with adhesive. In order to remove it, we first have to warm up the watch to around about 80 degrees Celsius. While that warms up, we'll prepare an opening tool from this razor blade. To do this, first we need to fold and snap the razor blade in half, and then we fold it in half and snap it again. This will give us 4 opening tools that we can open the screen with. Now that the watch is warm, we can start to remove the display. These blades are extremely thin and are perfect for creating a tiny opening between the glass and the frame of the watch. As always, we use some 99.9% isopropyl alcohol here to help loosen the adhesive that holds the screen to the housing. We apply light pressure with the tool very slowly so the screen doesn't crack or break the OLED. Screen removal is one of the riskiest parts of this repair, and these displays are not cheap. Once we have a small opening, we can switch to a thin piece of plastic to work our way around the edge of the watch. Rounding the corners of the plastic sheet helps to reduce the risk of damaging any fragile components inside the watch. Again, we use a little more alcohol here to allow us to easily slice between the screen and the adhesive holding it to the housing. This is where we need to be really careful. There are delicate ribbon cables here, so try not to push the plastic any deeper than about 5mm. Now that the adhesive has been cut, we can finally take a look inside the watch. To remove the screen fully, I use this heat plate set to 80 degrees Celsius. It's designed for phone screens, so I cover the extra holes with tape to create a small section for the watch to sit in. Doing it this way ensures that the screen stays in the same place whilst I disconnect the fragile flex cables. Here I'm using alcohol and a spudger to very slowly lift the sticker holding the flex cables to the screen, and then using a pair of thin tweezers to lift the sticker covering the connectors. I'm using a spinning rod here to remove any excess glue on the connectors, just to make sure that things are easier for ourselves later on. A small rotation with this metal pry tool and the connectors are free. Now we can gently wiggle the cables from the screen. Step 2. Removing the old battery. With the screen off, we can finally move to the battery. All we need here is a bit more heat, some isopropyl alcohol, and a spudger. Just be careful not to put too much pressure on the flex cables as they're easy to damage. We need to remove this small screw that holds this tiny plate in place. And once that's out of the way, we can disconnect the battery. Step 3. Inserting the new battery. The new battery arrives in this neat plastic package. If you're wondering, this is an Apple Watch Series 6 44mm. Models up to the Series 6 are all essentially the same internally. Here's the new battery next to the old one. Apple doesn't sell parts for Apple Watch models like they do for the iPhone, so this is an aftermarket battery, but the performance should be very similar. The spinning tool makes quick work removing the old glue that was holding the previous battery down, and then we clean the excess residue with a Q-tip. I'm using genuine Tessa tape to create a new sticky surface for the battery. Usually these batteries come with their own adhesive, but this one didn't on this occasion, so we had to improvise. With that finished, the new battery is connected, the adhesive backing is removed, the shield goes back on, and everything is screwed down before the battery is stuck down into place. Step 4. Reapplying the new screen. To make sure the screen sits and sticks properly again, we clean around the edges of the housing with a cotton bud and some alcohol. This takes a bit of time, but patience here helps create a strong, even bond when the screen goes back on. The back of the screen and the flex cables are still sticky, so I'm using this small piece of plastic to keep them separated. This makes aligning the cables to the clasps much easier. Once the screen's connected, we power it on to make sure it works correctly. And it does. I'm using black cold press glue here. It's far more reliable than B8000 or T7000. You can also buy adhesive stickers for these watches, but I've had poor results with them in the past, so I wouldn't advise them. We only need a thin bead of glue around the edge of the housing. That should be enough to create a strong bond similar to the factory seal. Now we place the screen into the housing and we can clamp the watch shut. This is the best time to wipe away any excess glue with a cleaning cloth and alcohol. I now leave the watch to dry overnight. Now that the glue is fully set, we can clean away any excess with a cloth and a bit of alcohol. Battery health is set back to 100%. Unlike iPhones, there's no unable to verify genuine battery message on Apple Watches, although I wouldn't be surprised if that changes one day. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.